Hello, everyone. Welcome back to STEM Explained, a platform I created to help students better understand the many exciting and diverse paths within STEM. Through interviews and stories from professionals across science, tech, and engineering and math, the goal is to make STEM more accessible, relatable, and inspiring for the next generation of changemakers. Today is a special episode as I am interviewing Mayor Cawley. He is the mayor of Morrisville, NC, the best place to live. While he does not have a traditional STEM based job, his extensive work in sustainability in our community, from solar panels to efficient technology, he is a great source of insight on how STEM can play a role in our community. So without further ado, let's get started. But maybe you can start off by giving a brief introduction about yourself.
Sure. My name is TJ Cawley. I'm the mayor of Morrisville. I've been serving as mayor since 2017, and then I got reelected in 2021. I started my public service soon after I moved to Morrisville in 2007. I helped our neighborhood get some traffic calming devices, and then I joined the Public Safety Committee, which was instrumental in getting those traffic calming. Then I joined the Environmental Committee. I ran for council in 2011, and I did not win. But then I attended all the council meetings. I learned as much as I can. I spoke at meetings during public address, got elected in 2013, and then have been serving the last 12 years and have really enjoyed it. Before that, I went to University of Virginia, and I got my undergrad degree in business. And then I worked a lot of different places, including DC, Los Angeles, Oregon, Kentucky, but always found myself coming back to the Raleigh area and really decided that this would be a great place to raise my kids, and Morrisville is the best place to live. So that's why I'm here.
Yep, Morrisville is definitely great. I wanted to ask, what's first sparked your interest in, being governor, being the mayor, obviously, and like the public leadership aspect of your profession?
So as I mentioned, I was joining the Public Safety Committee, and I thought that I could help by being up on the dais. There's 7 people who get to vote, including a voting mayor. And I felt like they could be making better decisions for the residents and trying to do a little bit more investing in things that are important to me, like tree preservation, sustainability, having more sidewalks and greenways and things like that. So that's what really sparked my interest. The funny thing is, in high school and college, I was more of kind of like a nerdy jock. So I played a lot of soccer and I played ultimate frisbee and things like that. It was my brothers who were really social. They're 2 years younger than me, and they're like president of the high school class and things like that. So the fact that I'm in politics and they're in just regular business is kind of turning things upside down, and it's kind of funny. But I think part of what made it appropriate for me to be a mayor is that I think outside the box and I'm willing to try new things. I think it's important that you iterate to innovate. You have to try lots of things. Every once in a while, you're going to fail. And that's what government doesn't really like to do. Government doesn't like to fail because they feel like that's a waste of taxpayer dollars. But in order to make real strides towards progress, you have to try new and different things. So if you think of them as experiments and not failed projects, then it's okay, because you learn something and you move forward and you do more things. So I've been very proud of the progress we've made as a town under my leadership, and I hope to continue it.
I just wanted to ask, I never saw you as the nerdy jock, and I really like your points about reiterating things that you feel, because I know for me personally, if I don't do good on like an assessment or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, I give up. And it's like, no, you have to keep studying, you have to keep trying again and again until you get the desired outcome. So
Mhm.
good to good to know that even in a job or even in government, you have that mindset of reiterating.
Yeah, iterate to innovate. And one of
Yeah.
my favorite expressions is life is too important to be taken seriously. So any single test or any kind of outing, just know, let that roll off your back, learn from it and move on. Coach Krzyzewski had a really good concept, like the next play is the one that matters. If you did a really good play, that's great. Can't think about that because that'll distract you from the next play. If you did a really bad play, don't let that bother you either, because that'll distract you from the next play. The next thing you do is the important thing. Did you ever watch Ted Lasso? Strong communication and negotiation skills, effective problem solver. Energy, environment, natural resources.
I think it was in education.
Okay, I'll skip down to there. The Advanced Leadership Corps. Engineering there. In Mamaroneck High School. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you're thinking of somebody else.
Oh, then it's my bad.
Been around people who are engineers. Donna Fender is an engineer. She's on our council right now, and she's been really driving our sustainability efforts for the town, which I'm very proud to have supported her election and supported all of her different ideas. We actually created a position, our sustainability coordinator, who's been with the town for a few years now, and we have a master sustainability plan, which goes out to 2028. And we've been trying to pull a lot of those efforts, those outcomes from 2028 to sooner years by allocating more resources into that. For example, all our town buildings will soon have solar panels on them. You'll find that most of our buildings also now have EV charging right nearby for a very reasonable price. So we're trying to also make sure that all new apartment complexes and developments have EV charging stations either installed or ready to be installed. So we're really leaning into sustainability, which is pretty much all about STEM because it's using technology to better people's lives.
I was gonna ask you about sustainability, so uh, that's a good lead in. I was just going to ask first, I guess, as an introductory question. Um, how important do you think sustainability is in this day and age? And I mean, I'm assuming you think it's really important based on all the work that and like the improvements we've seen in Morrisville, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, for example, we just received some low flow shower heads from Duke Energy because they're giving them away for free. Under my leadership, we've actually had food waste containers in 3 of our parks. So you download an app and then you can take all your food waste and divert it from the landfill and take it to those things. Also at our Western Lake Farmers Market, every Saturday, we collect compost and that's reused on our trails and mulch and for our education garden and for our community garden. And those compost bins are also at Indian Creek Trailhead 7 days a week. So people can drop off their compost anytime they want. We've done really well about introducing hybrid vehicles into our town. We have a smart city committee and a Morrisville environmental and stormwater committee who work closely together to try to introduce new ways to be more sustainable. We've won some awards for some of our sensors that we have in our parks, and that determines how wet the fields are and whether or not people can actually use them. And that saves energy because we don't have to drive our trucks to the park to figure out whether or not things are doing. It automatically closes the gates, sends out a text to the team members for the soccer teams that were supposed to practice. That practice is canceled, for example. So we're leaning into, we are a very lean staff. We have 250 people to serve 32,000 people. So per capita, that's a lot less than any of the other towns in Wake County. So we're using technology to be more sustainable and to make things happen. I personally do it in my backyard. I have what's called the Earth Machine, which is a home composting big plastic bin. So it's worth the effort to go ahead and separate all those things and try to put as much there instead of the landfill. And we're really good in my home. We have recycle bins near the garbage cans. So we recycle as much as we can, and we try to reduce all the things that we have to recycle, because a lot of people forget the first R, which is reduce, and then reuse, recycle. Sustainability, I think, is important for a community. Right now, we've been really inward focused and trying to make sure all of our buildings and all of our own actions are very sustainable. We've eliminated single-use plastics in town hall, for example. So we all bring our own water bottles, or we have reusable water bottles there. We recycle a lot in town hall. Our next step will be to be more outward facing and try to encourage the residents also to take these types of steps so that we can all reduce our carbon footprint, because I think if we all do our small part, it leads to big change. And I think that climate change is real. And I think it's really important for us to really lean in, because like if you had a leak in your roof, you'd fix it right away. And our roof is leaking. We're causing climate change, but we're not doing the small things that we can do to make it better. So I think it's important for people to say it's okay to allocate resources in that direction.
I really like the analogy about the leak on the roof, because I mean, climate change is obviously a really big issue, but I like the fact that it's kind of like an emergency. If you have something wrong going on in your home, you fix it immediately, and that's kind
Mhm.
of the same situation with our planet.
Yep, exactly right. And we've got to save it for your generation. And you guys have to step up and really start to urge us to make better choices, um, and to try to do better. Try to get a hybrid car instead of just a regular gas car, for example.
Yeah. Actually, I had two questions because I mean, what you said about the technology was really interesting to me. So, I guess my first question is, how do you determine what tech is needs to be used? Because I mean, there's so many resources and technology that are available. So, how do you determine what technology is most applicable to Morrisville?
So that's a really great question. And I've learned a lot from Rick Ralph. He is our technology specialist. He's our director of technology. So he goes with the mindset that you're always trying to solve problems. You don't buy the tech and then find the problem to solve. You identify the problem and then find the tech. So, for example, for those sensors that I was talking about for our parks, the tech didn't exist. We had the problem. We needed to know how wet the fields were. So he worked with a private company to design the sensors that we needed and the housing, to actually make them happen. And then that company is doing well now because we worked with them to create it. So a lot of people are buying the tech and saying, okay, how can we make that work for our town? How can we help our town using the tech instead of the other way around? Like, we do not have cameras on all our stoplights and things like that because we haven't found the need for that yet. Cary does that, and they have the technology and the capacity to actually use that to help traffic and things like that. So we're not doing that yet. We'll probably get to that. But right now, it's really important to identify the problems and how we can be more efficient. Another thing which is interesting, and it's really low-hanging fruit, is that our public works department used to go around every week to empty all the garbage cans in town. And as you can imagine, there's lots of garbage cans and recycle bins all around town. So staff designed and created themselves using 3D printers, because this was like during COVID and stuff where it was hard to get any kind of shipping done. And so they call them trash can pandas, and they go in the top of the trash can, and it senses how full the trash can is. So now the public works only goes around to the garbage cans that they need to go to. So that's kind of cool, right? It's kind of like we pick up trash every week from our residents. And if we knew that their garbage cans weren't full, we'd still pick them up because they put them out. But it's kind of the example. You could save a lot of time by not hitting every single garbage can. So we have that going for us now. And then those public works, they can help mow the fields. They can do other things that are useful for the town and keeping us safe, like fix potholes.
Wow, so tech is making it things more sustainable, but also more efficient, so you can use your time on other things.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants their taxpayer dollars used frivolously. So when we can show that we're using this and then we have free up time for our other humans to do other work, it makes sense. So it pays for itself. That's the thing. If sustainable actions don't really pay for themselves, that's going to be a problem, because then it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You want to allocate your dollars where it helps. So that's why solar panels are so good, because they pay for themselves after a few years, and then everything after that is gravy. LED lights, the same thing. It's an upfront cost, but then afterwards it saves money.
Hmm, that's really cool. I was also gonna ask about like all this tech stuff. I've seen like a lot of, I mean, just online, like a lot of technologies being developed. And I was wondering, how do you determine what is effective? Like, I mean, I'm just going back to like science or whatever. Like you calculate data, you collect data, and then you make graphs or whatever to determine, oh, that this thing is working, or no, this thing isn't working. So how do you do that in your job?
We ask our staff to provide us metrics and outcomes and what their goal was and whether or not they met it. And if they did, great. If they didn't, what can we do better? Do they need more resources to meet that goal? Like, one thing is we're always trying to reduce the response time for our fire department. So they track that really closely. Is it a matter of having the boots on the truck or next to the truck? Do you step into the boots? It's like there's lots of different small pieces of getting to a fire on time. So we just ask our staff to really just lean into that and break things down and figure out how to use that data to make better decisions. And we're doing that a lot more. We're updating our strategic plan, which was first adopted in 2018. And so we're changing things up a little bit. We're changing the outcomes, making them a little bit more general. And then department plans and their outcomes are going to feed up into it. So you can see that at morrisvillenc.gov, our updated strategic plan, if anyone's interested.
That's really cool. So you use the feedback to kind of make things better and then provide you the metrics that you need to identify which things we need to work on.
Yeah, it'll help inform our decisions going forward. And we are the 7-person policy making body, so we're kind of up high, and we just get reports from our staff. We kind of give them direction, like, okay, we need our public works to have a little bit more resources, they can be more efficient. Something like that. We want to make sure that we have 4 firefighters on every engine, things like that, so they can be safe and get to our calls a little bit faster. So we don't really dig down into the data. We just ask for summary reports, and staff really does all the work, the operations, to determine whether or not this is being efficient, and then they ask us for more resources when they need them.
That makes sense. I also wanted to ask you about the solar panels, since you mentioned them. So, I was just curious, how would the solar panels be implemented? Because I'm assuming that it would be like a long process to get them installed and then get them, in use. So what's the kind of plan there, I guess?
Yeah, it used to be really difficult for towns to get solar panels because there was no real incentive to help pay for them. So you used to have to deal with a private developer, and then they would take the tax breaks and things like that. But there's a new program in place now that we actually get tax breaks, even though we don't pay taxes. So it makes it more financially viable for us to do that. And one thing that we worked really well with was Deborah Ross, who is our congressperson. She worked to get us $250,000 to install some solar panels on some of our buildings. So that really reduced our costs a lot, put the return on investment in a much sooner year. So that was something that we could share with our residents as a real positive. And we've been continuing to invest. Our connector building, the one in between Fire Station and our Chamber of Commerce, is the last one to get solar panels on it. And we're very excited because Morrisville Aquatics and Fitness Center is soon going to have solar canopies over some of the parking lot. So that'll look really cool as well. And we're hoping to have some solar picnic benches. So like the umbrella on top of the will be solar panels, and then it'll charge like your phone and stuff at the picnic table. So solar panels are pretty cool, and they pay for themselves. So it's a really good investment.
I like the picnic bench idea. That's actually a really cool idea because that's just a lot of free space. And I mean, everyone needs an umbrella, so it's always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I brought that idea to the town because I saw it up at App State many years ago. My son and I were visiting up there, just checking out the campus, and they had a couple of those around. I was like, these are really cool. So I took a picture and shared it with staff, and eventually we catch up.
Exactly. Learning from like your experiences, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I took a around the world trip, and that was kind of cool. It opened my eyes. I met a whole lot of different people, saw different things. And now when I travel to different cities and towns, even just over to Cary, and I see things that are really great and things that we can scale and make a little bit smaller for Morrisville, I bring that staff's attention, and hopefully we'll take the best practices from all around and make Morrisville an even better place to live.
Can't wait.
So let me ask you a
Um,
question.
yeah.
What are you? I'm hopeful that you will consider moving back to Morrisville to raise your own family after you graduate from college. What are your thoughts about that? What can I do to make Morrisville a place you'd want to come back?
Um, I will be honest. I love Morrisville. I've been here for most of my rememberable life. Like I've lived in other places, but this is the place where I remember living my most memorable life. I guess the one thing that could be better is, let me think. Um, I would say maybe I love reading books, so maybe a bigger library would be helpful because love reading. And I know like, a lot of my friends, like I love going to the West Regional Library, and the Morrisville Library is for me it's walking distance. So I would love if that library was bigger, but I mean
Right.
that the fact that there's a library there is also really cool because I remember it when it was still being built, and then I remember saying like, oh, that's never gonna be built when I'm in high school. That's gonna take forever. I'm like, oh, dang, it's already here. Okay. That's so
Yep.
cool. I was so excited when the new library was built. And maybe that and also transportation, I guess, because I can walk around to most of the places. But maybe if like I want to go shopping or something, I don't have a car. But I know that there's still some bus transportation there, but maybe it could be better. I don't know.
No, it could be. Do you have our Smart Shuttle app on your phone?
Mm-mm. I know my mom has it though.
Okay. So that would be another way to get around. I'm a big fan of biking. You can get to
Mm,
most everything by bike too if you're interested.
okay. Maybe I'll try
Mm.
biking instead.
Okay, good.
Um,
Well, thank you.
thank you. I guess as one last question to wrap it up, what's one piece of advice you'd give to young people who want to get into civic leadership and getting into government?
Um, like Doc NC is a great thing. It's a bunch of your peers with like-minded values and trying to make things better. So I'm just big on volunteering because volunteering, you get to try new and different things. And because it's unpaid, people are willing to give you more responsibility. And so there was, we had Taste of Morrisville in Morrisville as a chamber event, and it kind of had died out. So I helped the chamber reinvent it as East Meets West Festival. And I got to be in charge of the volunteers because I was a volunteer. And then I got to really be embedded in that festival and learn how much work goes into a full year of work goes into a 1 day festival that we had at Park West. And it was really successful. So I encourage people to volunteer a lot, try to network a lot, as much as possible. Try to travel internationally after high school. I mean, I took a 6 months right after college and went around Europe with a backpack. And that would have really changed my college experience if I had done that between high school and college, because I would have been forced to meet a lot more people and things like that. So definitely do a lot of college visits, try to get some time traveling with a group of your friends or something like that right after high school. I definitely recommend that. Um, and just know, like I said, life is too important to be taken seriously. So try different things. Don't be afraid to fail, because you so often learn more from an experience that didn't go as you expected than from an experience that you just expected to go that same way. So just sort of lean into being different because you're unique and you should try not to fit in. Not fitting in is okay.
Thank you for the advice. I will definitely look into traveling.
Okay, that's
That
great.
sounds really fun.
Yep.
I think that's it for today.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing the output of this and coming to your presentation whenever that is. Be sure to invite me, okay?
Of course.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.